Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And well, I shouldn't even need to introduce our guest because she's on for the third time now, Stephanie Flesher. 2 weeks out from her show. I mean, obviously, we can tell. Good God. I mean, it's making my skin just even start to crinkle up a little bit and get like that. But yeah, she's on here to, discuss what she's been up to. Obviously, she looks a little bit different than she did the last time that she was on because she
A
was
lot.
yeah, a little bit, yeah, just a little bit different. No, but yeah, so we're glad to have her on and talk to her again. And again, Stephanie, thank you so much for coming back on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. Sorry, I have to drink my protein shake. This is like eating time, so.
No worries at all. Well, I ask this every single time. What is the weather like in your neck of the woods right now?
So it's been rainy and muggy. I mean, it's almost summer here, so it's pretty nice, but it's been kind of humid this year.
Well, and I mean, obviously, it's raining here right now too. I don't know if anyone can see just from how groggy it is outside, but I mean, let's just get into it. Been the main difference because since we've last talked? Because I mean, you look totally different. You were into doing the powerlifting thing back then, and now you're back into bodybuilding. Why don't you just give us an update on how that's all transpired?
So the last time that we spoke, I was in prep for my first powerlifting meet. I was 212 pounds. I am around 170 now. So I've lost 42 pounds since we've last spoke. I have also done two powerlifting meets now and pretty much killed it in that sport. Love that sport. Gonna probably always do that sport in my off season from bodybuilding. It's helped grow my posterior chain and my physique. It's just changed my entire shape immensely. I fell in love with the training style and I have an amazing coach. So yeah, I love both sports now.
So, at what point in your powerlifting journey this last year did you decide that, like, oh, hey, this seems like it might be good for me to get back into bodybuilding now?
Well, I always knew that I was going to obviously get back into bodybuilding. It was just a matter of COVID being over or not and the shows happening. And I wanted to make sure that I, had the entire reason that I took up powerlifting was to better my physique. So I decided to do 2 rounds of it instead of one. And each round of it was around, 10 to 12 weeks. So it was like a 6-month thing. And then I decided, all right, it's time, it's winter. Let's go ahead and get into prep for spring or summer shows. And that's usually like a 20-week prep. So this will actually be my shortest prep. It's 16 weeks. And I started prep for bodybuilding the day after my powerlifting meet in March. And at the time in March when I competed, I was ranked #1 in the world for my weight class. Um, I'm not now because other women have competed, but I think I'm still like top 3 to 7. So that's pretty cool. My second time ever competing, and I'm, you know, world ranked.
Well, yeah, I remember seeing that too, and I was like, yeah, that is just absolutely incredible. And yeah, that is just so awesome. And obviously, we see that your physique's changed. And how do you feel that I mean, I know you said it helped your posterior chain, but in what other ways do you think that powerlifting really helped you develop more size or get better results in your bodybuilding as well?
So think about it. It's squat, bench, deadlift, right? So you have the 3 compound basic movements. In my entire bodybuilding career, I've never done squat, bench, or deadlift. So I basically took it back to the drawing board and took it back to the basics and started working on the foundation of my physique. And it really just brought up the muscle density in the areas that I was lagging. Believe it or not, I was lagging muscle in certain areas. And it really just kind of like honed everything in and brought everything like together, and everything that I was missing, it's now more complete.
Have you mixed up your training at all from previous preps, or are you doing it somewhat the same? What's that been like?
So I'm not training like a powerlifter anymore. I'm not even training really like a bodybuilder. We kind of are doing like a hybrid approach. Actually, you're gonna laugh and people aren't gonna believe me, but I only train like 3 days a week now, and I only train shoulders, back, and legs. Once you have it built, it's there. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of kind of like maintaining it. I still train really hard. Don't get me wrong. When I am training those 3 days, I'm training really hard. My powerlifting coach is still doing my programming for my bodybuilding prep, and he murders me. Like the workouts are brutal.
So I got to ask now, what the hell do you do for shoulders basically? Because that's the number one problem area that we hear of all the time. And obviously your shoulders, I don't even know if you can fit in the screen basically anymore now. So what does a shoulder day look like for you? If you're only training for 3 days a week, you must really just kick the crap out of them.
So he starts me with some sort of pressing movement, and then I go into supersets, and I usually have about three different supersets. So I'm doing around 7 exercises for shoulders. Each superset I'm doing around 4 sets of, and it's usually a rep range between 8 and 12 or 8 and 15. But the trick is to find a weight where you're failing at that rep. So, like, if I'm programmed to do 8 reps, I'm not going to just do like 10-pound laterals. I'm going to find a weight that I'm failing at 8, which is going to be pretty freaking heavy. So, that is the key for me. And honestly, for most people, I don't think people train heavy enough.
That's a problem too that I see a lot too. A lot of people just do the high intensity stuff with the low weights, but
People, yeah, people don't train to failure and they just train for reps. So they're like, oh, I have to get 10. Okay, I'll do 10. But they left like 5 to 10 in the tank. So you didn't go heavy enough, basically.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And there are times that I've felt that as well, even in my own workouts. But nutrition wise, I mean, have you mixed things up with nutrition, or is it back to how you were with nutrition in your old bodybuilding preps, or has this been different at all?
So I actually have a new coach this year for bodybuilding, and he's doing all my nutrition, my supplementation, my gear protocol, and my cardio protocol. This prep has been completely different than every other prep in every single way. I have way more food, way more carbs, way less drugs, way more supplements, and way less cardio. So it's literally like a dream. It's a dream. It's been incredible, and I've had zero cravings and zero deviations. Whereas all my other preps, I have binged, deviated from the plan, had cravings, gave in. This plan, I don't need to, and I don't want to. My mindset is totally different this time as well.
Well, and the one thing that I love about you the most is that you are open about all things in this lifestyle as opposed to a lot of other people, which I mean, for their reasons, they can't be open about it. I mean, the last podcast that we did is probably one of my favorite ones that I've ever done, if not my favorite, just because of just how open it was. And you mentioned that you're doing less of the drugs now. Cause I remember last time when you talked, I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of stuff. So what is it looking like now for you if you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so my current gear cycle, and I'm 2 weeks out. I am on 3 IUs of pharma grade GH. I'm on Serostim. So 1.5 IU AM, 1.5 IU PM. I am on 60 micrograms of Clen pre cardio. I am on 10 milligrams of Anavar an hour before I train, so only on training days. I am on 50 milligrams of Primo every third day. So it's really only about 100 milligrams a week. And I'm taking 30 milligrams of injectable Winstrol 2 days on, 1 day off. 1 milligram of 8X every other day. So what is that, like 5 things?
I lost track after a while. So, but hey, yeah.
H, Clen, Anavar, Primo, Winstrol, 8X. 6 things. Usually by now I'm on like 10 to 12.
Which I mean, and that's and but how do you mix those things together successfully? Because I know that like with all the, I mean, everyone thinks that they're their own chemist basically, but when it comes to getting those dates right, I mean, is that just a lot of trial and error for you specifically and your trainer, just figuring out what works best for you, or is it they just try you on something and then it's just you just sort of look at it and say like, oh hey, this is what gave me the best results?
It's a given. These compounds are for cutting. So
I am a deer in the headlights when it comes to all this stuff. So literally, I'm an idiot. Yeah.
I'm in a cutting cycle, so that these are cutting drugs. And then the anabolics are gonna help me, put on lean muscle and then keep it while I'm in a deficit.
Oh, so yeah, so when you take them all, so they all have their own specific effects, basically. Then where they all come in naturally together. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just making sure that you weren't taking like 6 of the things that are supposed to do the same thing, and all of a sudden you're just like, because I've had that before with like my ADD meds, or sometimes when I was younger, when you'd mix like 2 of them together, they would just completely offset each other, and I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, this
The
doesn't work.
drugs don't have any counteractions or things where if you use one, then it negates the other. Super well experienced in this area, and I do my due diligence and I research and I trust my coach. So, and stuff I haven't taken before, so I know what all of it is and what it does and what the side effects are for me.
Absolutely, and I take your word for it, and I appreciate that you're, that honest and open up about it. And when you're getting down to like the thick of this part of the prep, I mean, sleep I can't imagine has been, kind to you these last couple of days, especially because I know that you just got done, you had food poisoning the last time that we were supposed to have
Oh,
this
that was
recording.
awful.
So what was that like too? Because especially now that you're supposed to be leaning down or what, I mean, I bet it might have helped a little bit lose a couple of those extra pounds, but what was that journey like?
It actually, so I thought that it was gonna make me look like I thought it was gonna make me look watery. It did make me look flat, but it actually dried me out because I was dehydrated. I don't think it was food poisoning. I think I just caught the flu or a stomach bug. If it was food poisoning, then it was like a seafood food poisoning, and I've heard that is the worst. And it was bad. I'll spare you the details, but 2.5 days on the toilet.
Yep. No, I got food poisoning once from undercooking chicken, and that's why I burn it every single time I cook it basically now because I'm always afraid that I'm gonna, get food poison. Yeah, anyone, it's not fun. I mean, if you want to get extreme weight loss, I recommend it, but other,
Yeah,
other than that, yeah, yeah.
then it was like, even though I was starting to feel better, my stomach was still not that great. It was like my stomach would cramp when I would like drink, or it would bloat when I would drink, and then when I would eat, it would cramp really bad. So although I was only like down and out for 2.5 days, it took another day and a half, 2 days to like fully recover and get my digestion back on track and everything like that.
What was that like going back to the gym? Because I can remember one of the hardest struggles I ever had was after I had food poisoning going back to the gym because you just felt like you lost so much strength, and you're already cutting down as it is.
The first day that I went back, it was just about going through the motion. I was like, I'm here. You don't have any energy. I have no strength, but I'm here. So I did what I could, and I knew that it was just a patience game. You had to be patient. I had to, have another. I had to have a solid day under my belt. So then the next day, I was, fueled with the proper nutrients and hydration, and I knew it was going to come back in a day or two. So it's just a patience thing.
No, and that's a hard thing for someone like me to swallow because I want everything now and I want it yesterday. But when it comes to
Don't.
yeah, I know this is not the lifestyle to be in if you want that. So that's why I've never competed a day in my life and never will because I just cannot physically just and mentally just be there. But what is uh I mean, basically, what does your other days look like now in the week? Because if you're only training like 3 days a week, how are you preoccupying yourself? Because I mean, when I train, it's like 5 to 6 days a week, and it's just so I can have something to do really for me. But what are you doing in your off time?
This is what is off time. This is the busiest I've ever been in my entire life. My business is thriving. I am so busy. I had to hire a personal assistant. I'm getting tons of inquiries a day, tons of new clients every day. I'm so busy. I just created my own app, and I haven't launched it yet, but I will be. I couldn't be more blessed, and I've been super fortunate this year. When I'm not in the gym, which I'm only working out for about 45 minutes to an hour, I currently am doing 40 minutes fasted cardio in the morning and then another 30 at night. So my cardio right now just got bumped yesterday to 70 minutes a day. Granted, I only have a week of that and then it tapers off. So I basically, I'm doing fasted cardio in the morning, and then I'm, the basic bodybuilder stuff. I'm getting my meals ready for the day. I'm going to work. I'm working all day. Then at the end of my long day of training clients around 8 p.m., then I work out. Then I have more cardio, come home, clean out all the dirty Tupperware, prep it all for the next day, go to bed, do it again. Like, I don't stop moving. I just moved into my own house, my brand new house, and I haven't even literally sat down and watched TV yet. Like, and I've been here a month. I haven't even done that. I have no downtime, literally.
Well, we're glad that we could snag you up for some time then, because yeah,
Thank
I have moments in my life where I'm like that too as well, and I just yeah, those are just really really hard, but
But I'm really blessed and fortunate in that I am busy, and I don't take it for granted. I love being busy. I pay attention to detail, and I work better when I'm busier. I thrive under pressure, so I need it. Like, the busier I am, the better I am.
do you feel that you've dealt with this prep better mentally than other preps in the past? Because especially as you're getting down to this stage where your brain starts to get a little foggy, do you think it's been better this prep?
This is the best prep I've had, hands down, all the way around in every aspect, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. everything financially, everything is better. Um, all my other preps, I've been in some sort of toxic, destructive relationship, abusive relationship, and I'm not this time. And my head is so clear. My focus and vision are so pristine. It's been night and day what, not living under a dark, gloomy cloud does for you, not being in that toxic environment every day does for you. And I'm so happy now, and I'm so filled with like inner peace and gratitude, and I have so much grace in my heart that I wake up with like tenacity. Like I can't wait to kill this day. Before I didn't want to get out of bed. I was miserable. I was depressed. I was negative. Woe is me. Like Debbie Downer. I had to do it. I didn't want to do it. Complete opposite person. I'm a completely different person inside and out than I was the last time that I prepped for bodybuilding show.
And I've been seeing that on your Instagram and on your stories, and I'm really happy that you have finally have that prep where everything seems to be going right, and it's just it's so great to finally be able to talk to you like that with that, and that's. But with posing, how do you think have you changed up your posing routine at all, or have you kept things sort of the same?
So I've changed my coach actually, and I have changed a few of my poses. Um well, he changed like a lot. He changed my front double, he changed my side tricep, my side chest, my ab thigh. I'm doing a vacuum now. The only one he didn't change is my back double. So it's we're checking in every day now. And then about every other day or every couple days we will do like we will FaceTime or Skype or whatever and do a posing session together and work on it. This weekend, my goal is tomorrow to work on my prejudging routine because they give you like a 45-second, 60-second window to come out and do an individual presentation for prejudging. So I need to put something together for that. And then I actually just had a fan find me my music that I'm going to use for finals. So I'm gonna get that spliced up and edited, really fun, and I'll start throwing that routine together as soon as the music's done.
That sounds amazing. And what do these last few weeks look like for you as you get closer to your show when it comes to your training and everything else? So when do you stop training right before a show? Because we have some guests, it's like 3 days ahead. We have some that's 4. We have some that's like a week. Where do you fall on that, or where do you think it's going to be for this prep?
Good question, Ryan. So I have one more week this next week, from 2 weeks out to 1 week out of heavy training. And then I'll have a last leg day probably next Saturday, so a week from now, that I'll just burn out all the glycogen in my lower half. And then I'll probably have 3 more workouts after that, probably um, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm not really sure. This is the first time where I have had a coach that wrote my workouts for me. And then I have 2 coaches. So we're all working together as a team. I will say that I'm taking off peak week completely from work, and I am traveling to Omaha on a Wednesday and my show's on Saturday. So I'm giving myself tons of time to acclimate, get there, get settled, relax, do whatever I need to do. Make the hotel room into my own little like miniature home, set up a little kitchen. So yeah, I don't know. I can't say what peak week is gonna look like. I don't know. But
The saddest thing about that is that you said you're going to Omaha on Wednesday because there's absolutely nothing to do in Omaha. I'm sorry. I go there to visit my grandparents. I mean, it is the most boring town on the face of the earth for a major
but
city. It is the most boring place. I mean, yeah, yeah, but
but
that's
Cake Factory, so I'm pretty sure that's where we're going after the show.
yeah, yeah, I guess as long as you get your Cheesecake Factory afterwards. What so I don't want to torture you enough, but is there any specific type of pie or cake that you want the most?
I wasn't ready for that. And, um, I really love so I used to work there actually, so I know their menu pretty well. And they have like I think it's like a lemon raspberry cheesecake, and that sounds really good. And then I'm gonna have to have 2 slices. The other one's gonna have to have some sort of like peanut butter or chocolate or caramel or something. So we'll just see. And honestly, it really depends how like I do at the show to see how crazy I am gonna get post show because I'm gonna be like real with you here. If I don't win, I've got another show in 2 weeks, so I got to keep it pretty tight. I'll obviously get a free meal that night, but I'm not gonna go like overboard to where I'm in a food coma.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's pumpkin pie or bust. That's really that's
Ooh,
anytime you get a pumpkin pie,
ooh, have you had pumpkin pie cheesecake?
I have not.
Oh, it's so good.
I
It's gotta you gotta try it.
I am one of the pickiest eaters ever, so literally pumpkin pie is the only pie that I enjoy other than yeah,
Oh,
that's really about it. And then carrot cake, I'm fine with carrot cake for some
oh
reason. I don't know
yes,
that.
can
Yeah.
take everything.
Yep. Yep. Now that they got, I just can't wait until about 2 months from now when they get the, everything becomes pumpkin pie now with fall. And I mean, you mentioned now that, the last time we talked, I think it was, yeah, it was right in the middle of COVID too. And, things are died down now, but do you find that, obviously, like you said, your business has grown and everything like that. Do you find that it's because a lot of people now are just sort of getting out of that coma of staying in their houses now and they're starting to get more active? Or what else would you attribute, do you think, to your such big growth that you've had in your business?
So, as you know, I lost everything over COVID. I lost all my clients, my business, everything tanked. So, I think initially coming out of it, yes, it started to grow and rebuild because people could leave their homes and go to the gym and they wanted to lose the weight they put on over COVID. So, initially, yes. And then what I really think started to happen was people saw my life changing. They saw me on my glow up, so to speak. And people are attracted to that light and that energy and that vibe and they want to be a part of that. And they're like drawn to that, you know what I mean? In a sense where they're like, look at her, she's kicking and taking names. Like, she's been in situations and come out of it and stronger. Like, I want to be like this person. Like, how do I do this? And I'm super transparent on my social media and and that's really what it's been. It's just been me sharing my story, being transparent and being real and open and honest, whether you love me, hate me, judge me, ridicule me, whatever. I'm me and unapologetically me. And I think a lot the response I get, everyone loves that and appreciates that, and there's a humbleness to that. And there's a respect. There's a lot of respect that I get for that. I'm very easy to talk to, so people will, come in my inbox, and I try to respond to everyone. And then obviously, I'm not trying to be cocky, but my physique speaks for itself. So people see my results, and they're like, "I want you. I want you to coach me. I want to look like you." So it's definitely helped. This is the best I've ever looked, and I genuinely do want to help other people, and I want other people to reach their best and their potential.
100%. And I mean, yeah, with I mean, with a lot of people just seeing all of your transparency that you have, this isn't meant to be like a shade, throw shade at anyone, but do you wish that a lot more people were as transparent as you online? Because I honestly wish that myself. And I know that there are reasons why some people might not be able to be as transparent, but just overall, like you are one of a handful of guests that I've had on that are like truly like transparent with absolutely everything. Do you ever wish that you'd see that more on social media?
I don't wish that I would see it more on social media. I wish that I would see it more in life in general. I think people hide, and I think the reason that they do it is because they don't even know themselves. So, how can you expose something to the world when you're very unsure? You're unsure of who you are. You're unsure of your why, your purpose. Why do you say or think or do things the way that you do? Because people don't genuinely and fully know and understand who they are. So until you step into that, until you own that and that's your truth and hey, this is me, how can you be transparent to the world? You don't even you can't. You're kind of you have to hide behind like a lens and like rose colored glasses in a sense because everything is distorted because you don't even know.
Yeah, a lot of people though too. Yeah, especially in this day and age where you can really fake anything really and get away with it on social media. So it's just yeah.
People are so lost, so broken, so damaged, which I've been lost and I'm still broken. I'm still damaged, but I'm healing. And that's the thing where I think there's a disconnect is people just don't want to do the inner work to heal and to grow and to become better. And people just become very bitter and hardened and scorned by their trials and tribulations and their adversities. And it's like you have two choices in life. You can either do something about it or you can just wallow in that self pity.
hmm Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And I want to talk a little bit about the physique category because, I mean, let's be honest. If you were to look the way you looked right now, like 5 years ago, you would be competing in bodybuilding right now. So obviously, physique has gotten bigger and bigger, as the years have gone on. Where do you think you see it going? Because I think with a lot of people, like it's going to reach a certain peak and then go back down. But what are your opinions on, the future of the physique division?
So I have my own personal opinions, but it doesn't matter. The sport is subjective. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the judges want. And I was told by a very reliable source that all of the head judges, all of the pro and national head judges had a meeting at the beginning of the season. And they said, listen, female bodybuilding is back. We need a clear line between women's bodybuilding and women's physique. And here's the line: we're not doing the grainy, hard, overly striated look in women's physique anymore. We're going back to the Juliana Malacarne days, when everything was prettier lines. It wasn't like overly hard, overly drugged up, overly dry, overly, full striated glutes. Like we're gonna actually discredit that in the sense that we're going to not reward it. And because those people need to then move on to bodybuilding. Because if women's physique is just as hard and lean and grainy as female bodybuilding, then what's the difference other than maybe a little more muscle? There's no difference. So do you see that to me was what was explained as far as the judging is going to go. And I've already seen it. I've seen it at St. Louis. I saw girls that were really conditioned. I'm talking fully striated glutes, and they did not place well. And the girl who won, Carly, beautiful, not overly conditioned, came in perfectly. Her glutes looked harder a week out than they did at the show because they did a great job of filling her out.
I've heard, I haven't
Yeah,
heard.
already. So far they're sticking true and staying true to what they said they wanted. We'll see what happens tomorrow at Bahamas, Puerto Rico. So that's so crazy to me too. Like the show names and then where they're at. Like Chicago Pro is in Atlanta this year. Like it's just so funny to me.
Oh, that's for me too. Yeah, and I did not hear that the judges went behind and sort of did that. And yeah, like if that's what they said, then I can totally agree that they've been doing it. So that's great that at least they're, they have a consensus about everything. Because my whole thing with judges, I won't get into it right here and now, but yeah, it's just been so fascinating. And I mean, obviously, when you look like you do right now, I mean, we talk about how like if you were to walk out in public, you get a lot of people's attention, but especially now that you're in like these last 2 weeks, what has that been like for you, sort of just going out in public and having people just look at you because like you are, like you said, you're about ready to step on stage right now, and a lot of people are just like, wow, what, like that's incredible. So what has that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously get a lot of looks, a lot of stares, a lot of compliments, a lot of oh my god, look at her, or oh she's a female bodybuilder. I get a lot. I mean, I can't walk anywhere and someone not say something. I would be shocked if I walked by somewhere and someone didn't say something. Um, it's not been any different than any other year. It is what it is, and people are gonna talk. They're either gonna admire me or, like I said, they're gonna diss me or whatever. It, to each their own. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not trying to be everyone's cup of tea. Um, I think a majority of it is very positive, though. A lot of, like I said, respect because they understand the hard work, or they think they do. They have no idea that goes into it. A lot of people, they want to stop and talk, which is fine for the most part, unless I'm in a hurry. But I've had a few, negative things, and it's just one of those situations. Like you're gonna get 100, good comments and one bad. Like that's not that bad. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I mean, you're very, open with a lot of your fans on Instagram too, and you do a lot of Q&As. How important is it for you to be able to connect with your fans and just hear them?
And that's why I do the Q and A's that I do, because I think that human interaction and human connection is so vital in life. And I try to be a presence in a positive way. And so if people can get to know me and maybe relate to me, or if they want to pick my brain on something or have a comment, question, concern, like I want them to know, like I'm right here. You can talk to me. Don't be intimidated or scared. I promise I don't bite unless you want me to. Like, yeah, I want to be nice to everyone, and I want to spread kindness and joy. And I don't. Nothing is really off limits except for the little girl that's upstairs. That's something like it's just that's my baby. Like I don't need to be posting about my personal life and my daughter 24/7 and talking about her on the internet. But other than that, I'm an open book, and yeah, I think it's very important for me in what I do because, in a sense, I'm kind of like an anomaly. Like how many, buff blonde bodybuilders do you know or see every day? And so, people want to know, like, want to know what's going on in here, and I'll share it because like I said, I'm transparent. As I'm transparent.
One of the things that I when we talk about like drugs and stuff like that, I just want to bring this up because I think one of the reasons too why a lot of people don't talk about it as much is that when they do bring it up and they are honest about it, they sometimes get a lot of crap for it. And I again, that's why I appreciate you even more for being able to do that, because I even see some of those Q&A things that you do, and there are some negative comments, but there's vastly more positive. But do you, how do you feel about, all those, sometimes when people, obviously when you're open up, when you're open about what you do and how you're able to achieve these looks, I mean, a lot of people sometimes, take offense to it, but how do you deal with that personally?
How do I deal with people that take offense
Or
to how
just,
I
there'll always be like haters and stuff like that for whatever you do. I mean, even I have haters, for God's sake.
I've gotten more haters in the past 3 months than I've ever had in my entire life combined. You know how I deal with it? I don't. I when you give into okay, and I learned this the hard way. When you feed into something, it grows, right? If you give it ammo, if you fuel it, the fire grows. So I learned that the hard way because I was engaging, I was letting it trigger me, I was responding, and that's all they want is a response because then they know they got to you. So then they won, and you can't win against internet trolls and keyboard warriors. So for a while, I was trying to. I felt defenseless. I felt like I had to stand up for myself or stand up for someone else. And then I learned really quickly, like this is just negative, and I can block this so easily with a click of a button. These people are strangers on the internet. They don't actually know me. They know what I say about me. They don't know me based on what other people are saying about me. So it's simple. If a negative comment, a negative post, there were a meme page made about me. If anything negative comes across and I see it all. I block it and I delete it. And that person is out of my life. I have control of who I let in my life and the energy that I'm around. And I don't have time for that. Sorry, excuse my French, but no.
Hey, no, I just like to mess with them personally. I just like to, smack talking back. I can be very sarcastic, so that's what my sarcastic side definitely comes out on that. But yeah, I mean, it's just that I just asked that just because that's one of those
I'm like that too. I'm kind of like the sweetest soul you'll ever meet in a sense sometimes.
oh yeah, I mean, and plus, like I have had years of insulting people back. So like I save the best ones for when they are warranted. But I normally keep it. I have like an ammo belt basically where I know when to use and when not to use them, and that's
Have like
important too.
that slow burn. Like it takes a lot for you to get to me, but then when you do, I'm gonna ruin you.
Oh, absolutely, and that's sort of like with me too. And so yeah, and I mean, it's just important for people to realize that, like, hey, these internet trolls, the people that troll you, I mean, it's like they're just doing it just because they're insecure about themselves, because no one just goes and comments on someone's page if they're not just for the fun of it. I mean, there might be like a handful of people that do it just because they literally have no lives at all. But yeah,
I think that a lot of the times you have to sit back and like say, why is this person projecting onto me their hate? You know, and it comes from what they lack. You have what they lack. And whether it's jealousy or insecurity or inadequacy, there's a reason. So once you understand that you meet people where they are, not where you are. So if they're in a bad place, if they have self-doubt or self-hate or animosity or resentment or they're going through things in their life that you know nothing about, you have a better understanding of why they do the things and say the things that they do. And then you have grace. You give them grace. You don't have to accept it or take it, but you just have this understanding like that's okay that you feel that way. You're entitled to your opinion. Totally fine. I don't have to believe you. I don't have to be around you. But you can go on your way with that. Like you want to be like that, go right ahead. And then it's just easier for me to let go of it because it's not a burden that I have to carry. That's their burden, you know.
I love talking to you because you seem to have all the answers when it comes to that, which I'm grateful for, which I can implement in my own life. But what advice would you have for anyone walking up to you now, just asking how to get back in shape? Because especially with COVID, I mean, before when I'd ask you this question, it'd be different because most people hadn't, put on some COVID weight, and they're just people are just funky and still in a funk now. It feels like when since we've gotten out of this pandemic, and I know a lot of people be like, "Oh, we aren't out of it yet." Well, we can go out of the house and we can do stuff. But what advice do you have for people just looking to just get back in the thick of things? Because I mean, on top of like normally them being afraid to maybe go into the gym or afraid to start stuff, now with like this the pandemic, people I think are just extra cautious about stuff. So, what advice would you have for them?
You don't have to go to the gym to lose weight and to work on yourself and to better your life. You don't have to at all. But I will say this: motivation comes from within. You can have an accountability partner or buddy. You can have your spouse on board to help you or do it with you. You can have a coach. You can have a great support system. If you don't have motivation that comes from within, and you don't have goals, and you're not striving every single day, then you're just going to fall off. You can have all the external motivation in the world, be it somebody that you look up to, or a mentor, or someone that you want to look like or be like, or someone that inspires you on the internet. That those people can't do the work for you. Only you can. So internal motivation is the number one thing that you need to have to start.
Absolutely. And days when you're struggling with that, because I mean, even though you're in a prep and you're so committed to bodybuilding, there are going to be days when you aren't feeling that. Where do you go deep down to sort of get that energy to keep going?
One foot in front of the other. You have to do things in life that you don't want to do, but you have to remember that there are people out there who would gladly, willingly take trade places with you, and they would love to do the work that you're not willing to do, just to get to half of where you've been or where you are. And then I remember my competition, and I asked myself, do I want to win, right? Well, would first place skip their cardio right now? No. If I come in second and I skip cardio, I bet you first place she didn't skip her cardio. So I would only have myself to blame, right? So I can't be like, I left no stones unturned, when really I know there's more that I could have done. And I'm not playing that this year.
Is there any way that you're sort of ready? Like, let's just say something happens and you end up getting like second place or whatever. Have you prepared yourself mentally for that maybe? Because I feel like sometimes when people invest so much in something, like, believe me, that was me when I was playing baseball. If I even gave up a run and we still won the game, I'd be upset. Or if we lost, I was so down. Have you been able, do you think, mentally just prepare yourself for like, hey, I might not win this one? I'm not saying that I don't think you aren't going to win. I'm just saying who knows what's going to happen. But just in case, because if like you're so invested in this, I feel like sometimes people take it all out then on themselves unfairly when it might not even be their fault.
Winning means nothing to me. I'm sorry, winning means everything, but winning a trophy or winning a placing means absolutely nothing to me. I've already won. I've already beat my last physique and my last look. The show is just the icing on the cake now. I'm already a different person. I'm already a better person than I've ever been in my life. I've already won. No one can take that away from me. No judge can be like, you're in last place. I already won. I don't care what place I get. If I get second, I'm doing another show. If I get 10th, I'm doing another show. If I win, I'm going to Olympia and I'm doing another show. The work doesn't stop just because I wasn't what they wanted that day. Um, and here's the other thing with that: if you have zero expectations, you can't be disappointed. I don't expect to win. I'm not expecting anything. Therefore, I can't be disappointed. Now, do I want to win? Yes. Do I deserve to win? I don't know. That's not for me to decide. Am I going to do everything I can do in my power and that my coaches can do in their power to make sure that I show up undeniable that day? Absolutely. But who knows who's going to show up? I don't know what the other girls are going to look like or bring, and I can't focus on that. I'm only worried about me and what I'm going to bring, and I'm already bringing my best ever. So I've already won. So I have. Why would I plan how I'm going to react when I don't win? I've already won.
Well, you summed up perfectly what it's going to be like for me tonight, because yesterday was the 3-year anniversary of the start of the podcast. So we're going on a bar crawl tonight, me and some friends, and I always go whenever I go bar hopping. I always go with that agenda. I have no expectations at all. So anything happens, it happens. But otherwise, zero expectations. So yeah, you put it perfectly. You put it absolutely perfectly there. But yeah, it's just so fascinating just talking with you, and especially because of your transparency. I mean, it makes everything so much easier for me as well. But when we talk to you a year from now, where would you like to be at just in your bodybuilding journey? Where would you like to be at just in your overall life? What are some goals that you'd like to have achieved?
A year from now, so we're talking what, June 2022? Oh God,
Yeah, it sounds crazy saying that. Yeah.
I live 124 hours at a time. And that brings me zero anxiety. I don't have anxiety or stress in my life because I only live in the right now. And I only think about the next 24 hours ahead of me. I don't think about next week, next month, a year from now. So for you to ask me that, that takes a lot because I just don't live my life like that. Because tomorrow's not guaranteed or promised. Obviously, we'll have aspirations and goals, short term and long term. So a year from now would be June. I would love to be starting my prep for the Olympia because I think that it would be about like, well, if it goes back to September in Vegas, then I would only be what, like 10 weeks out or something. So I would like to be in the thick of my Olympia prep next June.
That's awesome. And I mean, since you said you want to do powerlifting in your off season, are you going to do it in this off season? Or are you going to take a year off, or what are you thinking about for that?
No, I'm gonna do it as soon as whenever this competition season in bodybuilding is over, be it, you know, if I don't win Omaha, I'm going to do Chicago. If I don't do on Chicago, I'll probably do Tampa. If nothing comes of that, then I'll shut it down. I'll do those three shows and shut it down. If I have enough Olympia points, I'll go to Olympia. If I win any of those three shows, then I have the Olympia, and that's in October. So potentially, I'm prepping all the way until October. So when October hits, um, let's say by God's grace, I make it to Olympia. Olympia's over, then I'll start a productive off season and I'll integrate back into powerlifting. And then there's just a matter of making a plan for what's next with bodybuilding. And I've always wanted to do the Arnold, and if the Arnold is in March again next year, I will have a very short off season. I don't even know that I'll have time to do powerlifting. So everything is super tentative, and it's all just very dependent, on what the future brings.
How do you mentally deal with that change from, bodybuilding to powerlifting to bodybuilding? Because like your nutrition is 180 degrees different, when you go into powerlifting as opposed to bodybuilding. Like you said, you got up to like 212 and you're at like 170 right now. So that's, it's only like 42 pounds or something like that you lost. How do you deal with all that change in your body mentally?
It's just a light switch.
Oh my God.
You
For me, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm like a chameleon. I feel like Jonah Hill where he loses and gains 50 pounds, every single year.
just flip the switch. You have new goals, you have a new plan. Once the plan is set in place, you just implement. The piece of advice that I can give is just do it. Don't stop thinking, stop questioning, stop doubting, just do. And then everything kind of falls into place, right? Like I have coaches, like we have coaches to do the thinking for us. My job is to read, follow instructions, and do it.
That is awesome. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
Yeah, so I want to say a huge thank you to both my coaches, Steve Gentili and Haisine Nasir. I probably butchered the shit out of that because I don't know how to say it because he's French. Um, all my friends and my family, everyone that supported me this prep, all my fans, followers, everyone that has sent me positive messages. And honestly, I want to thank the haters too because this prep, I don't think it would be as successful if I didn't have as much hate as I had because that hate fueled the me this year. So I really want to thank all my haters.
I mean, I take more motivation from the haters as well. They help me motivate even more. And I mean, again, everyone, we cannot thank Stephanie enough for coming back on. And by the time this gets published, I think it'll be either like right before the competition or right after. So I'll include the result if it's right after, down after this. But again, I honestly think she's going to do great, and I think she's going to win. And honestly, again, we cannot thank you enough for coming on and for sharing. And I look forward to having you on again.
Thank you so much, Ryan. It's always a blast. And congratulations on 3 years. I love your podcast. And I will try to continue to send you awesome athletes to interview.
Oh yeah, we got to get Hunter Henderson on here.
I'm rooming with Hunter at Omaha. This is Hunter's first show. Hunter's going to have an amazing bodybuilding career. I already know she's going to win her first.
She's a freaking beast. You showed me her profile, and I'd already sent it to her before. But I just looking at some of her photos, like, good God.
Been staying super low key and under wraps with her physique, and I've helped pose her. And I'm telling you right now, she's top 5 at the Olympia her first year. Mark my words.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, and hopefully we'll have her on here soon enough. But again, you guys, Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.